All right, good evening, Colerain Township, and welcome to the July 13th, 2021, 5:30 p.m. Meeting of the C.I.C. Community Improvement Corporation. At this point, Mr. Mills, would you like to do a roll call?
Sure. Mr. McElravy.
Here.
Mr. Iona. Mr. Mills is here. Mr. Unger.
Here.
Mr. Rajagopal. Here. Mr. Waller.
Here. All right, you have sent before you the minutes from the last CIC meeting. Are there any motions at this time?
I motion to approve the,
I don't believe, unfortunately, could I make a motion to table this item to the October 12th meeting? Due to a lack of a secretary, those minutes are not in final form.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to table item 2, approval of minutes, till the October meeting. Would anyone like?
I will second it.
Okay, all those, so then we need a roll call vote here, I guess.
Very good. Mr. McElravy?
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Unger?
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal?
aye.
And Mr. Waller?
Aye. Item number 3, thank you for including citizen address, which we have no citizens in the room today to address. But that is going, for those of you watching in TV land, that's going to be on every CIC meeting, a citizen address. So if you do have things that you want to bring up to the CIC, please keep in mind that will be part of our agenda going forward. Number 4, new business. A, motion to approve the financial statements for the second quarter of 2021. Are there any motions at this time?
I move to approve the financial statements for the second quarter of 2021.
Are there any seconds?
I will second it.
Okay, motion by Mills, second by Unger. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mills, so I'm looking at this in the second quarter. Looks like it's presented here, and it's right here in the agenda. I did review it the other day. It looks like as of June, there's $66,037.31.
Yes, sir. And there were 2 transactions over the last 3 months, one to the Auditor of State and one to Plattenberg.
And one of those auditors of state is zeroed out.
Say it again.
It looks like on on March 15th, there was a zero transaction for auditor of state.
Yeah, I was looking at in the last quarter for the second quarter that we're approving, there was 2 transactions, one on April 12th and one on...
Okay, I'm looking at a different page, but I do see that on there.
Oh,
Mr. President, I can address that if you would like.
Yes, please.
Great. So this is the same transaction. The first attempt was to make that payment through an ACH electronic payment, and that failed. So instead, we cut them a check for that $4,305.
Okay.
And that was the payment that was attempted on 3/15/21, right?
That's correct.
As we see on page, if you're following along here in the agenda, page 3. And that's what Mr. McElravy and Mr. Unger are referring to. Any additional discussion?
None.
None.
All right, very well. We'll go ahead and take a vote on that.
Mr. McElravy?
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Unger?
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal?
Aye.
Mr. Waller?
All right. That passes 5-0. Moving on to item number 4 of new business, item 4, new business B, resolution to accept property from the Board of Trustees of Colerain.
Yes, sir. Gentlemen, later on this evening, the Board of Trustees will meet and consider transferring ownership of 2 parcels that are currently owned by the Board of Trustees. One on Planet Drive at 8725 Planet, and the other on Wenning Road, 2684 Wenning. Both of these properties don't have a structure on them. They're vacant. And if the Board of Trustees should choose to transfer that property, this resolution allows the CIC, or allows the Executive Director of the CIC to accept that property. So the recommendation is to approve the resolution.
Are there any motions at this time?
I would motion for the resolution for the CIC to accept property from the Colerain Township Board of Trustees.
Seconds?
I second.
Right, discussion? I have a number of questions on this, just some of it just for a process sake. So is it acceptable to resolve to accept something that hasn't been offered yet?
Yeah, it's in, if it isn't offered, then it's null and void, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so this is, should the Board of Trustees vote to transfer it, this allows us to accept it.
And you and I have spoken a little bit about this, but just for transparency's sake, why would the township trustees decide to give it to the C.I.C.? Why is that a different vehicle? What is the thinking behind that? Perhaps you could give us like a 3-minute, 4-minute.
Oh, yeah, sure. No, it's real simple. There are different rules for the buying and selling of property for different types of organizations. So the Board of Trustees owns it and can dispose of the property, but there's a different way of selling that property, and it's more cumbersome, let's say. The C.I.C. is designated as an economic development arm of the Board of Trustees in the township. So it's not some separate third-party entity. It really is a vehicle for conducting these types of transactions. C.I.C.s were really put together to do just this: hold, sell, buy property for the advancement of economic development in the township. So, these are two vacant parcels that could be put to productive use potentially, and the idea is that the C.I.C. is the best vehicle to do that.
Thank you. And at the very minimum, we absolve our responsibility once we've sold it for upkeep of the property, which is a savings too.
Sure, and hopefully somebody will be paying taxes on it too.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
And maybe even improve it with a structure.
All right. Any other discussion?
Not on item B.
All right. Call for a vote then.
Mr. McAravy?
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Unger?
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal?
Aye.
And Mr. Ward?
Aye. That passes 5-0. Moving on to item 4C, motion authorizing executive director to sell parcel number 0510-0051-0220 and parcel number 0510-0062-0098. Are there any motions at this time?
I would motion that we would authorize the executive director to sell the parcels described.
Any seconds?
I second it.
Motion by Unger, seconded by Roger Capal. Any discussion?
Sure. So we've at the last Board of Trustee meeting, there was a brief discussion, I believe, on how or whether to sell these parcels. My recommendation is to make this as simple as possible. Is to use a process very similar to what the Hamilton County Land Bank uses, and that is they have a yard sign that looks like a for sale sign, which is what it is, and you put it into the yard and say, this property is for sale. It's kind of like a for sale by owner situation, and see what comes back. I believe that we will have offers on these properties. That the housing market is just jamming right now. Folks are looking for lots to build houses on, and I think that we'll be successful in selling these for market value.
Discussion.
Will there be a minimum amount that we would accept for them? Or are we?
Could be.
Or
Would you like
is
to have one? In my head, I think
on the
it'd be-
Port Authority? Is it $1,000 at the Port Authority?
one of the ways that the Port Authority sells their property costs $1,000. There are other ways that they sell the property that is more than that.
Well, technically, the CIC would have to approve the sale. So the minimum, it's one of those things where you think your property's worth X amount and it's really worth Y amount, so that minimum might change.
Sure.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Well, are we authorizing you to, are we entrusting you with the sale of them now?
I would have to bring back the sale for you guys for the board to ratify, I'm sure. So basically what this authorizes is for me to go out, put a sign in the yard, accept offers, and make a recommendation back to the board for whether or not to sell the property for what's offered. In my head, frankly, I think that those parcels are worth more than $1,000. I think that's probably closer to 10, but we'll see.
You put mostly assess with the market value, and just strictly market value, you want to fluctuate the price.
Well, I guess that's a policy decision as to whether or not you want to subsidize the sale of these properties. I believe that the market is very strong right now, and that people are looking for opportunities to build homes in these neighborhoods in particular. And I think that we could get market value, unsubsidized value for these lots. Now, if the policy of the board is to subsidize the lots, then we'll subsidize the lots and sell it for under market value, like $1,000, for example.
I'd be fine seeing what kind of offers come in, and they would, at a minimum, have to cover all of our costs that are involved in this, the closing costs to be paid by the buyer.
Sure.
We had talked about, and I know that gets a little bit more complicated, actually, turning it over to a realtor, and I know that that's going to just lengthen the timeline, and it's going to really confuse something that doesn't need to be confused. With that said, there are a number of other online type things. Will we be able to advertise it there as well, or?
Could, yeah.
Okay.
Could, yeah.
Because I think that the more eyes that see it, the other thing that I'm slightly concerned about, there's really no end date here. Do we owe it to those? Let's say that person A makes an offer on this piece of property. It's August 3rd. We don't want them waiting around till till January until we get a response. We want them to go on. Do we need a closing date, do you think?
I wonder if we get offers that are reasonable, maybe I could reach out and call a special meeting of the C.I.C. board to consider those offers.
Okay, but do we need a closing date for the offers? And that doesn't really make us have to take any offer. It just gives us a closing date. And if that closing date doesn't work, we'll give another clue. But I feel that if we put a boundary on things, people will be more likely.
You can do the next meeting,
Sure.
Yeah.
next regularly scheduled meeting.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we want to, so the alternative to that is land banking it, and so then we would just hold on to it forever. I think that the idea is that we would, if the Board of Trustees votes to transfer it to the C.I.C., that the point is to dispose of it. And
Right.
So, right. And so, hopefully that happens soon. But if it doesn't, I don't know what, like putting an end date on it, and then what happens if we go past the end date,
Well, then we could set, so my concern is that there's one individual that's interested in the property I know, and she's been interested in the property for like 4 or 5 months already. We don't want to make this
Sure.
we don't want this to drag out until.
Yeah, she should make an offer, and then we'll see. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You don't want to. Yeah. How about by the next meeting? If
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to keep people hanging because they need to go on and get something else if they didn't get it.
Yeah.
By the next meeting, meaning the next CIC meeting, or?
Which is October 13th. And if there's more, we can call a special meeting and.
Yeah, because I do feel there's some responsibility on our part to get back to a potential purchaser who wants to build a home there and
Sure.
under kind of a compressed timeline to begin with.
I don't know that I would run it up till that meeting date. I mean, you might want to close the bids a couple weeks before that, so if there's legal questions or environmental investigations that need to be done, there would be time for that.
Yep. And we aren't soliciting bids here. We're just putting it for sale. We're making
Right, and
it.
as is.
Yeah.
Whatever's in the ground and whatever's there is there. If there's I wasn't around when those were, I think they were both burnouts. And I wasn't around when they were wrecked. I don't know if there's a foundation buried in the ground or what, but we would have to make sure the lot was sold as is, buyer beware type.
Sure.
Yeah, quick claim deed.
Is that what it is?
And that said, if somebody puts in a great offer the first week,
Call a special meeting.
yeah, I'd like to go on, So I don't know how that needs to be worded to make sure that we're.
I think you can probably just leave it with the discretion. I mean, I don't know of
Yeah.
Jeff at that, but
I mean,
if you want a date, you can always.
As the executive director, I'm here
Okay.
to serve the board in whatever way you guys want. So, I think that I understand what the point of this transaction is. The point of this transaction is to take a vacant lot that's in a neighborhood and put it back into productive use and hopefully entice a new family to move to Colerain Township, deal with blight issues, and I intend to do that.
All right, any other discussion?
So the date will be October 13th,
Sure.
if
Yeah.
not sooner.
If not sooner, yeah.
Okay.
Well, on October 13th, we'll review all bids, if not sooner than October.
If we don't end up having a meeting September 13th to close the transaction or something. Okay. Or whatever other date, whether it's 2 weeks from now or 3 months from now. Okay. No more questions from me.
Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Yeah.
a point of clarification, is the next meeting of the board scheduled for September 13th, or is it
October.
October?
October.
The CIC,
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
call for a vote.
Mr. McAravy?
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Unger?
aye.
Mr. Rajagopal?
Aye.
And Mr. Waller?
Aye.
Very good.
All right, is there any other new business or items for consideration? Anyone would like to bring to the floor at this point?
Oh, yes. As a clerical matter, since Mr. Iona is no longer in the employ of Colerain Township, I had an opportunity to look through the Code of Regulations for the CIC, and particularly the section that deals with removal of trustees. And Article 3, Section 10 says members may remove any trustee with or without cause by simple majority vote of the membership, with such vote conducted as provided herein. So I would make a motion that Mr. Iona be
To
removed.
amend the agenda to have that as an item.
I don't know that we need to amend the agenda. I think you can just make a motion, but yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to remove Mr. Iona as Secretary of the C.I.C. Colerain Township. Are there any seconds?
I will second it.
Any discussion?
Thank you for your service, Mike.
Thank you.
Likewise. Okay, Mr. McAravy.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Unger?
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal?
Aye.
And Mr. Waller?
Aye.
Very good. And I don't know that I need to be formally designated as the secretary. I'll just go ahead and prepare
think
those
we-
minutes from
I think
April
we-
and today. That's okay with you?
I think we should motion to do that.
Oh, okay.
Should we motion?
You serve as interim secretary, I guess.
Okay.
You go ahead and motion for interim secretary.
I would motion that we appoint Jeff Mills as interim secretary for the remainder of this term of the Community Improvement Corporation.
I second it.
Any discussion?
No.
All right, vote.
Mr. McAravy?
Aye.
I abstain. Mr. Unger?
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal?
Aye.
And Mr. Waller?
Aye.
Very good.
All right, are there any other items to consider?
There are not.
Seeing and hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I would motion that we adjourn the meeting at 5:49 PM.
I second it.
Discussion?
None.
All right, to the vote.
Mr. McAravy?
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Unger?
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal?
Aye.
And Mr. Waller?
Aye.
Right.
We are adjourned at, my clock says 5:47, but I think it's slow.
Really, Mike?